welcome to the 22nd episode of the new podcast. My name is Steven, joined as always by producer extraordinaire Kelly and the host with the most, Morgan, in the house. Let's get to it. Super Bowl Sunday. As we are doing the show, it is on in the background, watching the Super Bowl. Who takes it? Patriots or them Rams? Only time will tell. We're coming to you live from the Super Bowl. Radio Row at the Super Bowl. I don't know how we got here, but man, we made it somehow. Big weekend of fights. We had bare knuckle boxing. Huge UFC card went down in Brazil, and obviously all the wrestling we had this week with the Royal Rumble show happening last week. I'll touch base on the Royal Rumble. A week ago was the Royal Rumble, and it did not disappoint. Oh man, let's get to some news here. Tons of shit to talk about. Let's do it. Verdum is one of the biggest advocates right now to get out of the UFC. Guy wants out of his contract, and I think it may have to do a little bit, obviously, with the ban, 100%, but I think it has to do with a little bit with the preferential treatment we have seen towards John Jones' piss tests and Verdum's piss tests. He's also saying that his first test had failed, but his B test actually came back clean, and that's why he's mad, because his B test, the exact same thing happened to John Jones. Verdum is saying his B test came back clean, but he is still punished with 2 years and this super severe punishment. And obviously with the grappling, is probably not in a contract, but he is willing to sign a thing saying, I will not compete in North America. That he wants to fight in Japan, and he wants to fight in South America and Brazil, which would actually be a pretty cool, maybe make some, we don't see enough, of these Brazilian organizations, of all these organizations throughout the world. Why in the hell don't we see a Brazilian organization at any level? They got to have something going on down there.
I think that Brazil is a big place for UFC right now. They do so many cards there, so I don't think they want competition there. I don't think they want to give some Brazilian promotion Verdum, who's one of the biggest names in Brazilian MMA.
No, I know, but even if they were to, I don't even know. I'm very schooled with all the MMA organizations around the world. There's nothing. No one can even give him, any money that would even be worthwhile for him to fight in Brazil. I don't know. Like, they used to have Shudo, but that was more of a Japanese organization that went over there. And really, that's about it. Jungle Fights, is that still a thing? I think it kind of is, but there's not even an organization with enough money to be able to pay Verdum the bare minimum, even for a pity fight. You know what I mean? There's just nothing. No one has a production value. I don't know what's going on out there. Kelly, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. There's just really, but with the amount of people, the amount of fighter per population, it's got to be through the roof. People who are actual fighters, you'd think there'd be something just by accident.
I think the UFC is so deep in Brazilian MMA right now. Like, it's as much as they are in America, I would say. Maybe even more, because there is competitors in America to them. But if you watch UFC, like the card yesterday, almost every fighter on that card was Brazilian, and they're all in the UFC.
That's what I'm saying, though. How do you not even have a minor organization, a minor league organization out there? You know what I mean? Like the likes you see in even tons of them over in America, or even in Japan has their minor leagues. Pancrase and different stuff like that.
I bet they do, but we just don't really know about it.
But still, how is it not getting to our media? That's what I'm trying to say. Is there production value problems? Are these even being recorded on TV? Hit us up, people. Brazilian fans, hit us up. What's going on with your MMA scene?
Yeah, you'd think they'd get one big name that people would just okay, he's fighting here, so let's watch this card. And then you find out about the organization and everything else. But there's not that one big name, like you were saying, they can't afford to pay one person that people would know about to fight in this organization.
They don't even have Bob Sapp money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Exactly. You hit the nail on the head, Kelly. Absolutely. Exactly. You know what I mean? Just the fact that they can't garner that much money. But you'd think they would be able to. It's weird. Maybe there's something mafia going on in Brazil. I don't know. Hit us up on Twitter, Brazilian MMA fans. If you listen to the show, hit us up at and new podcast. Hit it up, man. Kelly always with his updates on it. get your latest and new news on Twitter. The latest episodes coming down the pipe. Khabib, I think obviously the biggest news this weekend was obviously Khabib and Conor finally have settled their shit, with Conor getting the 6-month suspension, $50,000 fine, and Khabib, deservedly so, maybe it was a bit heavy-handed, the 9-month suspension, obviously more of the money, really, of the $500,000 fine. That is a kick in the pants. I thought that was a bit heavy-handed. He was 100% the instigator. There would have been no fracas afterwards had it not been Khabib. And Khabib even going as far as saying, like, because he was given an opportunity to take 3 months off his suspension if he appeared in a anti-bullying PSA commercial. Could you imagine that? Khabib Nurmagomedov in an American commercial about anti-bullying. Weird, but obviously he said, shove it up your ass. And he says, I'll do the 9 months. And he's also vowed to never fight in Nevada again. So that's big news. Saying
That's stupid.
That's where the money's at. You know what I mean? He's so mad. You know how he's just obviously probably speaking in the moment. Maybe just using it as a bargaining chip to
Nevada's the gate you want a percentage of.
Of course, exactly. Of course. I think he was countering with that, saying, just make me the New York guy. I'll fight in New York all the time. That'll be my thing. Because he, being Russian, he's very popular there. But obviously, you don't want to close a door when you're still at the prime of making your money. Get that paper, Khabib. Conor is obviously happy with it, so we should. What their rumor is going to be happening in April, after, because all of these suspensions are retroactive. In April, the rumor is they're trying to put together a card with Tony versus Khabib and Conor versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone is the big rumor.
That's a great card.
That's exactly. That's
those two fights.
Exactly. That's where they're trying to do this mega card. Obviously, I think the time would have to be adjusted with Khabib. I think that's kind of right up with his 9 months would be up. I'm not 100% sure, but still, exactly. That's what I'm saying, and that's a super great card. But what was kind of crazy, did you guys hear any of this about the heat between Ariel Helwani and Cowboy?
Nope.
Ariel went, everyone's seen his shit. You know what I mean? The fucking Little Mermaid, he stole my bit about crossover. Damn well did. It's not a coincidence that I did that show, and then all of a sudden he comes over to report of this. I was first. And new podcast, breaking it here. But he went on some weird thing. You've all heard him. We all know what he sounds like. He's kind of timid, right? Kind of like a nerdy guy, right? And he had this whole take against Cowboy, and he was like trying to be aggressive in the take. Check it out if you haven't seen it, listeners. Check it out if you haven't seen this. And he's trying to, I think he's doing like a bit. He's doing like a wrestling take. It was what he's doing with it a little bit. And he called Cowboy weak in it. He said calling out Conor was a weak move. You know what I mean? Saying that if he wants to do this and wants to be tough, not to call out Conor McGregor. And Cowboy, it also came back to Cowboy. So this whole thing where Chael Sonnen is talking to Cowboy about the fight against Conor, and he's saying it is apparently in the works, but he wanted to say, hey, tell your boy Ariel that I'm gonna like beat the shit out of him for calling me weak and saying this shit. So now Cowboy is obviously super mad at Little Mermaid for talking shit. I always thought, like, where's Ariel doing here? Is he stepping way out of his lane here with this kind of this weird wrestling take about how he's gonna beat up this guy and beat up that guy? I think the earlier times was when Ariel had to bitch out to Rampage. You remember back in the day he had Rampage heat in real life.
Rampage is a lot bigger than Cowboy.
That's true. That's true. Still, how the hell?
Either way, Ariel wouldn't beat up.
How the hell are you gonna kind of make this huge take? I understand what he's doing as a reporter, but I thought it was kind of this whole weird thing, kind of breaking down
the CM Punk of reporting.
Nah, he's actually good at it.
No, I mean, yeah, but when he tries to fight, he's gonna.
Yeah. Maybe he could beat CM Punk. Maybe that's CM Punk's next fight. He's like, I can take him.
Lost to a photographer. Right?
He's like, I could take him. No, I think it was a reporter. He was a reporter too. Yeah, he was a reporter too. That's coming down the pipe. But obviously, I think the fight that is actually going to happen before that fight, I don't know. I think Cowboy deserves the money, but I think what we're going to see here is Max Holloway is calling out Conor for a redemption fight, and obviously, everyone's going to call out Conor now. I'll call him out right on the show right now. calling him out. Conor McGregor. I want that money.
You can't beat Steven.
I
want
that money.
Knocked out.
Everyone wants that pay.
Everybody knows.
Exactly.
This is a fight they want.
You don't even know. You don't even know.
You think you know, but you don't.
You think you know, but you don't. Mm-mm.
This is a fight the people want.
Exactly. Everybody I know, especially me, but
He's
everyone.
Gonna eat your children.
Exactly.
He's gonna bite your ears off.
You got no chance.
Everybody wants that Conor McGregor money, and I think that's what Max Holloway is doing here. Max Holloway wants the paper, as does Cowboy. Everyone wants the Conor McGregor money, where you're going to get at least probably $1 million. I think that's probably the bare minimum you get to fight Conor McGregor. To be the guy, win or lose, would be a easy $1 million, which is huge in any fighter's paycheck. And then also, maybe you can get in some pay-per-view buys. Let's do it, Conor. You heard it here, buddy. You ain't nothing. It's kind of good for the sport in a way. You know what I mean? That these guys are going to get paid. I think that's what the nice thing at this is that guys who didn't get paid and deservedly so should, at least maybe they can get their money from Conor. And you know what? Maybe we'll see a good fight. I think Max Holloway is a good fight, and I think Cowboy would be a good fight. I think they both match up well, obviously being the striker fighting a striker. You guys have to be in my corner then.
Hell yeah.
All right. Let's do this.
I want to be super close when you knock out Conor McGregor. First round KO, I'm calling it right now.
I'm bringing a dolly.
Wow.
Yeah,
oh
right.
man, don't worry. Yeah, what are you gonna do when our dolly is bigger than your dolly?
Yeah.
You got those.
Respect the dolly.
Exactly.
I named mine Dolly Parton.
Snap. Big matchup this week coming down the pipe. Obviously, was John Bones Jones is going to take on Anthony Smith coming up. UFC 235. Pretty excited for that fight. UFC 235 really shaping up to be one hell of a massive card. They were doing a whole whackload of the build-up for this card, and man, it's mega stacked. Take a look. And also the Tyrone Woodley versus Kamaru Usman fight is also on that one for 170. Lawler versus Askren's also on that. Oh, and Jeremy Stevens versus Beat Magomed Sharapov. That's going to be a huge fight as well. Magomed Sharapov. All these Megomeds. Holly Holm is also on the card against Aspen Ladd. Holy shit. Super stacked. Oh, even OSP. OSP just fought. He fought on the last card, too. And this one, when is this one here? This is just in March. So he's going to fight 2 times in a month. Obviously, he destroyed Corey Anderson. We'll get to that later in the show. OSP takes on Misha Kirkunov, Canadian immigrant. Very, very tough dude. Cody Garbrandt is even on that card. Pedro Munoz. This is fucking stacked. Where the hell is it? Oh, it is in Las Vegas. Top to bottom.
Garbrandt on the preliminary?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know.
He was a main eventer.
And I've been announcing all these through the weeks too of all these different announcements, and now it's just all adding up at one fight. Oh wow, even Frankie Sands versus Marlon Vera. That actually be a good fight. I believe they fight at 135. That actually be a good fight too. That is insanity. Talk about a stacked card. That's like a System of a Down album from the late 90s. Fuck, it's crazy. Stacked. Goes down May 2nd. But now they have one hell of a headline. Is this too early for Anthony Smith, guys? What do you think?
You know what it is? That's the Cinco de Mayo card. Always the Saturday closest to Cinco de Mayo is a huge boxing card.
Wow.
Every year. So UFC usually makes a pretty big card that weekend too.
Good call, Morgan. UFC very popular, especially in the state of California. There's tons and tons of Spanish Mexicans. You know what I mean, and love their MMA. Man, can't wait for that card. Shit, coming down the pipe. With the 170 announcement in solid stone here, we have Dana calling out Colby, saying, since you turned down that fight against Woodley when we wanted you to fight him in, I think it was November or something, you now have to go back in line. Dana White is saying Colby Covington has to fight again before he can get the Tyrone Woodley title shot again. Being put back to contendership. You know what I mean? Pushing him back down the line. Somehow the guy went from being the interim 170-pound champ to now having to fight somebody else in a title eliminator to get up there. And who does he take? You know what I mean? At 170, there are so many guys, but but this kind of ties it up. There's a lot of the dancing partners are tied up. Woodley's tied up. Lawler's tied up. Ben Askren's tied up. You know what I mean? Usman's tied up. And Wonder Boy's tied up. Cerrone is kind of that guy who bounces in between. Nate Diaz hasn't really been around. Who's really going to be his dancing partner at 170 to even say, hey, I've beaten up somebody who is worthy for that belt?
Is RDA got a fight?
I think Rafael Dos Anjos. I like that one, but he'd already beat him though. You know what I mean? He's already beaten him, and he got his butt whooped too just recently by Usman as well. So tough one. Who do you think, Kelly? Who do you got in your mind there, man? Putting you on the spot on this one.
Maybe Wonder Boy.
He's fighting Showtime though. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's so many guys at the top 5 that are tied up right now. It's just insanity.
This kind of shows the favoritism that the UFC shows, man, because he just injured himself. It's not like he's like, I don't want to fight.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm hurt. Like, how many people have said that and still got to fight later on?
Exactly.
Most of the time they postpone the fight, reschedule it.
Yeah, exactly. No big deal. Exactly. Guy's injured, he's injured, right? You know, what happened there? He pissed off somebody, and they're not giving him that fight.
I think it could be a product of how stacked that division is, though. Mm-hmm. Like, you just named off a bunch of pretty good guys that are all in that division and all have fights coming up.
Exactly. Maybe they'll see where the dust settles, and then we'll see who gets to fight who. Maybe he gets Askren or Lawler. You know what I mean? Maybe that could make sense. You know what I mean? But even at the lower levels, you know what I mean, to have that kind of that guy that wants to square up with him would be a tough one. I think, even Rafael Dos Anjos isn't a terrible idea. Maybe he'll fight in the title eliminator with whoever wins between Robbie Lawler and Ben Askren. Even for Robbie Lawler to get that opportunity is it's kind of weird. 170 division has always been one of the strongest divisions for the UFC, and just because it's the most average size, I think especially when it comes to fighters. We were spoiled through our era, gentlemen, with the Matt Hughes and GSP era, which was just so good for so long. And now I think maybe they're just having a hard time finding a good fit. And I don't think Tyron Woodley is the fan favorite enough to be able to be that guy who's gonna take this division and make it the headliner again, which we don't see it as the headliner here.
Maybe Darren Till.
Darren Till, good one. He's fighting Jorge Masvidal.
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. There's 10 right there. There's like 10 170s that are all fighting right now, and not one of them was fighting Colby Covington. That's just crazy. You know what I mean? That's nuts. Yeah, Darren Till would be a great matchup, though. I love that matchup. Absolutely. You want to give him someone tough, that would be a good title eliminator. One thing I wanted to get to last week quickly was KSW. You know, I mean, they're starting to announce some of their shows for the 2019 season, and they are going with this champion versus champion fad, I guess you can call it, that everyone else is going through, putting their light heavyweight champ Thomas Narcoon versus Thomas DeFries. So it could actually be a good fight. The light heavyweight versus the heavyweight guy. I really like this Narcoon guy. He's really, really tough. Young guy. He has a very Colby Covington style where he's 205 and just coming at you constantly with kicks and punches and spinning back fists and good takedowns and shit. Dude is a real tough dude and a great fighter for that Polish organization. Should actually be a good fight. I'm actually excited to see what KSW has to bring to the table for 2019. Speaking of organizations announcing their cards coming up, Risen has just announced all their lineup for the year. 6 cards will be coming out of Risen this year, including the year-end show. It's going to be a really good one coming up. They're using Koji Hiraguchi up against Ben Nagoyan, who is kind of weird. I guess he's not in an exclusive UFC contract, but he has won a lot of his UFC fights, and he's going to be taking on for 135-pound belt against Koji Hiraguchi, I think, in the March show. So we'll see who else is. I think King Mo will also be on that show as well against Yuri Prokrajek with their rematch from the heavyweight tournament they had a few years back. I'm actually quite excited for that card. And Risen coming to the table. I was thinking about this throughout the week, is how with the 1FC cards, they're putting on more quantity than quality, and we see the exact opposite in Japan, where they're putting on quality rather than quantity. And I think we got to see these two organizations are just one step away from something big, and I'm almost wondering if they should almost work together more, just for that reason of having 1FC as the underground organization, the minor league organization, still putting on big shows, but then funneling those fighters into the big stage in Japan. Or maybe I'm just thinking Japan is the bigger stage just because of Pride Days or whatnot, but I think that they are the bigger show. Just having all those risen cards. 6 is good for that organization like that. It's staying in their lane. Staying in their lane is risen. I'm excited to see what both those organizations are going to bring to the table. They always will be attached to the hip, just because they are the Asian organizations. They are side by side, and I don't know why we don't see more cooperation between the two. I think one of the coolest things to happen this week happened just last night, and that was the announcement of Anthony Rumble Johnson's return to combat sports, in announcing that he will be joining the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, not to be confused with the Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation. 2 totally different organizations here, people.
There's 2?
Wait,
yeah.
What?
I just found that out too, just recently too. I thought they were the same. No, it's 2 organizations. The Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation, is the one that Bas Rutten's the president of, and it's the corrupt one. The one they had problems with their booker.
You call him Bas Rutten corrupt?
No. He's the one who exposed the world to it. He's the one who... Bas Rutten went in as the hero and saved it and exposed this corruption to the world and said, nah, this has got to stop right now. I'm putting an end to this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Bas Rutten, he's the one who found out about it and got rid of it. And good on him. But the other one is it's kind of the one that has more MMA fighters. Kendall Grove is in it. Joey Beltran's in it. Chris Lytle actually just fought this weekend in it.
What is it, like UFC without gloves?
Basically.
Beth Rawlings.
Yep.
Also in it.
Yep, Beth Rawlings, exactly, yep.
She's doing really good in it, too.
She just won the belt last night. She won the belt.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was all last night's, but to touch base on Anthony Rumble Johnson, according to him, he is not going to be fighting. He's just joining them as a fighter relations guy, kind of in a promotional role. So he's more of like a scout, I guess. So everyone thought, that's the first thing I thought that it was going to be. And it was actually, I first read it on Jorge Masvidal's Facebook page that he was coming over. But when you read it, he has responded to all this stuff here, because it just says he's joining. Even the tweet was kind of a little misleading, the one that they posted from the official Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship Twitter account, that he would be joining them, but he himself had come out later on saying he's not going to be fighting, to the sadness of fans around the world. That would have been really cool. Who does he would destroy anyone, but there's some pictures of him. He's quite jacked up.
I was going
right
to
now.
say, like, I don't know if I'd even want to see somebody get punched by Anthony Rumble Johnson bare knuckle. You probably witness a death.
Exactly. But exactly, I would have loved to have seen him, obviously. But exactly, who's he going to fight? All the heavyweight guys are pretty amateur. But they actually put on a pretty good show. I didn't catch any of the fights. I'll just break down who won with the main UFC guys coming through this. You know, Tony Lopez, I've talked about him on the show tons of times. Kryptonite, he beats Joey Beltran by a split draw. Wow. Oh, it was actually declared a split draw. He didn't beat him. Wow, split draw. That's how two tough guys from Mexico, Spanish or American Mexicans, going toe to toe. That would have been probably a pretty crazy fight. Leonard Garcia wins. I think he was actually on the headlining fight. Defeats Julian Lane, another UFC fighter. First round KO. Chris Lytle wins by unanimous decision. Even Joe Diesel Riggs, he fought as well, and he won by decision. And then Beck Rawlings, she was the main event, wins the title. Really cool little event. A lot of UFC fighters, and that's what you got to do. Chris Lytle, really turning back the clock. Wanting to go into that. That's crazy. I think he's actually undefeated in this. I think he actually KO'd the first fight he had. But don't get them mixed up, folks. The Fighting Championship is actually the legit one. It's the one that's actually done properly. And when I was watching all the highlight videos, that's what they wanted to stress, was how much safety they had taken into it. Where this bare knuckle boxing, I guess, had gone around in the States, tons on Indian reserves all over the States. And it was a big thing. But they wanted to make it so that people weren't getting there was doctors and stuff there. They wanted to make it legalized, which it kind of was legalized because you could do what you wanted on these reserves when it came to these events. Really cool little organization. Don't get it mixed up with the Fighting Federation. Was the one that had Phil Baroni and Chris Lieben. They're putting on those hacks show like that. But coming out of there, pretty crazy news. Will he fight? I don't see why he wouldn't fight. I could maybe see him fighting down the road.
Did Baroni fight Lieben bare knuckle?
They did fight, yep. It was a bad fight. It was a really bad fight,
I thought that would have been good.
It was pretty slow. Obviously, Baroni got knocked out. Wasn't very exciting, though. There's much what you got. Anthem finally comes out here. We get Anthem finally. You guys know what that game is? You guys checked it out? It's really, really cool. It's kind of like a mixture. Just the demo's out for everyone to play, so they can work out the bugs. And obviously, make it kind of like a teaser for people who want to get the game, which I'm probably pretty sure I will, just because of how good it is. So it's like you get like a suit, Morgan. Like there's different suits. So they call them javelins, and they have different attributes you can mix in and out, and different weapons you can use in and out. So it's like totally like a mixture of. It's kind of like Destiny and Titanfall, kind of. In your suits. And remember those arcade games you used to play like with the 2 joysticks and you were like these fighting robots and it was all like there used to be 4 of them in the arcade and you'd fight all your buddies, you know what I'm saying? Do you remember those games? Yeah. Kind of like a mixture like that a little bit. We were dashing around but there's so much different stuff you can use, different stuff you can do. It's actually okay. You go around doing missions and just flying around killing dudes and doing different missions like defending certain things as a team, or you can just free roam and come up against bad guys in some ancient ruins or some shit like that. And it's not a bad game. Not a lot like Destiny. Check it out though. Obviously, if you're on the fence thinking about checking it out, check it out. Anthem is definitely, since the demo is out right now, it's well worth it. I think I'm gonna get it. It's that fun, and just how disappointed I am in the Fallout game 76 and it's the crap fest that has been. I'm really expected to be playing that game for much longer, which I did not, just because how terrible it was, and I think how hard I was let down. I think that's what it is. It's not me, Fallout. It's you. Check it out though. Anthem's really cool. Night Fights was this week. Oh, before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to the follower here. Shout out to Cope FM, man. Thanks for listening to the show. Hit us up on Twitter. What you want to listen to, man? What you want to hear, topics. You just listen to us because we sound so terrible, and that's what you're into. Cool.
So awesome.
Yeah, I know. No, thanks for following us, man. Night Fight this weekend was crazy, though. Man, this show. Have you guys checked this show out yet? Fuck, it's nuts. I won't get into it too much. I went over all the rules and everything like that, just kind of what it is. It's pretty much the same. The 6-person battle is still super, super nutty. This one dude entered when he had just had his cast off for like 4 months and comes into this thing and he had like a pin in his leg. He got his leg broken so bad, and here he is trying to fight on this because it's a big opportunity, obviously, for these people. They probably do this shit for free. They probably go around fighting each other for free. Here's your opportunity to actually make money doing this once and for all. So he's like, yeah, I got it. And this dude was huge. He was a huge guy, but everyone knew, and everyone just bull rushed him and knocked him right down. But when he got his hands on somebody, man, he was manhandling guys. This guy was a massive dude in armor. It was fucking nuts.
I think that's the lame thing about that like battle royal aspect of it, is they all pick out the toughest guy and like cheap him out.
Still, the tough guy is the guy that gets out of it. You can only do so much of it, right? Because you kind of gas, so you can kind of weather the storm because you're battling with his armor. And that's what the guy who won this one was also a huge beef of a dude, Bill Bam Bam Woodbury. The guy was massive. I think he was like 267 and like 6'7", but his punches, that's what this dude did that I have not seen on this show yet. He'll just straight up fucking punch you, and his punches are huge, huge fucking haymakers. All his punches, and that's what's fucking people up. Not him hitting with weapons, him just walking up to a dude with a huge gauntlet and cold cocking them. You know what I mean? But he's like rapid fire punching, and like some of these dudes can only swing their weapon a few times because they're probably wearing like 100 pounds worth of shit on them, right? You know what I mean? So this dude, watch out, he's gonna be a killer. Like it. He's obviously older. I could never see him being an MMA just because he's not built for it. But man, tough dude, big guy.
I want to see that show.
Yeah, check it out on History, man. It was really
saw the commercial. I took my dad to the doctor in the waiting room on the TV. They showed that commercial.
Christian's good. Christian's a good host too. I'm just excited to see where it goes from here. Super excited. I see a drink here. Hold on a second.
Man. What up, Morgan? Don't worry, we covered for you.
Thank you. Holding down the fort, Kelly and Morgan getting the job done.
I think you want to edit that.
Let's get into some UFC Fight Night. Assunção versus Moraes. Probably the best card of the year so far. Like, what a stacked card for a fight night. Fight Night 144 going down in Fortaleza, Brazil. Man, did it not disappoint. It was just so many Brazilians on the card. It was fucking stacked for free. Well, it was free up here, America. Am I right? We get it free up here. Sorry for you guys. You can always stream it off of us. We'll allow that. Tons and tons of Brazilians, obviously. What we talked about earlier in the day, Morgan, was how usually in these Brazil cards, they have so many Brazilians versus Brazilians. And usually in these cards, they'll have, a Brazilian versus an outsider, which I think really works well. But I thought maybe this is just like you were talking about earlier, the amount of talent they have in there. They had really no choice but to cram all these Brazilians together. Let's bring it up on the big board. The new podcast big board. Breaking it down here. UFC stats. Let's see here. A spinning back kick from Sayad Nurmagomedov. Really, really cool spinning back kick. Spinning back kick and then punches. Yeah, he caught him right in the gut, and man, did he ever go down. Oh, Junior Albini makes it 3 losses in a row coming down here against this guy. I've never even heard of this guy. Jarzulio Rosenstruck. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it super, super wrong, but I guess I think is undefeated in his UFC. Let's break it down. Big boy Rosenstruck. He's from Suriname. Oh, it's Biggie Boy. Biggie Boy. Yeah, dude's undefeated, 7-0. We'll have to watch out for his fight next time. That was his first UFC fight. All other fights are by finish, and he did not... he actually fought in Risen by split decision. Other than that, he's been knocking dudes out. And Junior Albini, worst nickname of all time. Remember his first fight? He came in, he almost was wearing a diaper. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
Baby Albini. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And his nickname was Baby, but apparently it wasn't on purpose. It was pretty rough. Weird build. Probably the fight of the night I thought was Thiago Alves versus Max Griffin. Did you guys catch that one? Fuck, it was crazy. Dudes just went toe to toe.
I don't think I saw that one. I only saw the main card.
It was a goddamn war. First round, it was so crazy because first round went to Max Griffin. Second round, Thiago Alves somehow turns back the clock, kicks into second gear, and starts landing and just kind of swarming him. I was surprised. I would love to see the stat output of Thiago Alves. 2 punches, especially 2 punches landed, because he was landing a ton in the second round alone. It was crazy. So, and he definitely won the second round. So they're going into the third round, split 1-1. It was tough call. It was tough to say who really got it, but I tip my hat to Thiago Alves just for more output. Where Max Griffin did score a few takedowns in the second round, but he was kind of on his back heel. So tough split decision for Max Griffin, but Thiago Alves found it, man, and he actually put on a good show. They had some weird ones, I thought, on the main card. Maybe they were making time. It was that Talia Santos versus Mara Barella. Oh no, it was Livina Souza versus Sarah Fronta. That was the fight. I thought that was weird why they would have that one. I never heard of these other girls, and they were kind of amateur. I think that's what we're seeing here is Brazil has always had such a strong women's division, and we are seeing that obviously with the likes that we're seeing now, but I'm not sure about the up-and-comers. I think they're missing a few up-and-comers. They don't have the talent pool that they did have 5-10 years ago, and I think that's what we're seeing here. Not to knock whoever it is, men or women. This fight seemed like a bit of an amateur fight to be on the main show. On the undercard, it would fit in perfectly.
I think the strange thing about this one is it had like 6 fights on the main card.
That's true. Yeah, it was super stacked main card. Like just to have exactly for quantity. Exactly, quantity for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that when I looked at the card when I first turned it on. I was like, oh, there's 6 fights.
Were you working yesterday, Kelly?
No.
Oh no, you weren't working. Yeah, we helped move. Yeah, what am I talking about? I saw you yesterday.
I just forgot to watch them.
Oh, did you?
I saw the last 2.
You're hilarious. Oh shit. I thought actually to touch base kind of on the whole card as a whole, obviously being super awesome. I really liked Bisping being on it, being the color guy, replacing Jimmy Smith was a fucking from a 1 to a 10. Easy. His insight was amazing. And even how he called the Maya fight I thought was really cool how he kind of predicted, like, oh, just with the position he is, he's going to go for a takedown, single leg takedown, and second later he goes for a single leg takedown. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of cool. He got a little ballsy with that move and tried to do it later on, but it didn't pan out too well. But I think that's what you got to go with. Good. It was good to hear Michael Bisping. He was very articulate and he had some intelligent shit to say. Actually, I actually enjoyed him, and I hope to hear more of him in the future. We see, bringing us to my man Johnny Walker versus Justin "The Earth is Flat" Ledet. Guy was a fucking flat earther. You know what I mean? Oh shit! He's been knocked out too many times. That's for damn sure. Just come on, people. Flat Earth, come on. But still, didn't help his cause that he got knocked out. That spinning back fist, though, man, fuck, was that ever? Just how he hit it so beautifully, how Johnny Walker hit that thing so beautifully. It was off, like totally off balance and at a weird angle. That's why it cranked the dude so goddamn hard. And Ledet had no choice but to go down. Johnny Walker, huge.
Johnny Walker's crazy, man. He's like 6'5", 205, right?
Exactly.
He does like a backflip and lands it, just standing there.
Worm at how high he is too, how tall he is. To do the worm at that's amazing.
I think the way he comes out to the ring is fucking annoying. He's making those goofy
He's a weird guy.
Dancing.
He's a weird guy, but
but it makes me want him to lose.
Yeah, I think he's obviously doing it more for the women. He ain't doing it for you. He's doing it for the women.
What the hell woman likes that shit?
All of them. Look at this guy. He's different. He's eccentric. Women eat that stuff up. Come on, man. But my man, Johnny Walker, getting it done. He's on that list for a reason. On the Natural Born Killers list. Getting it done once again in 15 seconds. Talk about a follow-up to your first fight. I thought that was kind of weird. They're giving him Ledet, where I clearly thought Cleo Roundtree was way higher on the chart as far as standings had to go. Higher than Justin Ledet. And so I thought that was kind of weird that they would give him Justin Ledet afterwards, but the dude is the real deal. Speaking of the real deal, Charles Dubronx Oliveira versus David Timur. Wow, what a fucking fight that was. See, the thing was weird is that as Oliveira comes to the ring in these massive Coke bottle glasses, his glasses are fucking huge. I mean, like how does he fight? Like, I don't understand how he fights, because he's coming down the ring with glasses. He obviously can't have contact lenses on. You know what I'm saying? So how does he fight like that? But, man, I bet he was wishing he had those glasses on, because he took one of the fucking nastiest double eye pokes, and he, like, hooked his fingers. He, like, double eye poked and, like, hooked his finger. Like, his fingers got stuck in his eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was nasty.
And then he gets eye poked again right afterwards.
Damn.
The funny thing
How
was
did
the
it end?
first eye poke, he got a point deducted.
Right away. He's like, boom, point
and
gone.
then he eye pokes him again, and the ref doesn't even give the guy time to recover. It just start fighting again.
I don't think the ref saw it the second time. I'll give the ref the benefit of the doubt on the second one, because even Bisping, like, I don't think he saw it. And then Bisping was like, no, I'm watching the replay. He actually clearly eye poked him the second time too. And so the one thing he was mentioning is how Charles Oliveira was stopping the fight and like, oh no, timeout, I got my eye poked again. You know what I mean? And you can't really have a fighter doing that, but still, it was what a fight to showcase his stand up. The stand up he was landing for such an accomplished grappler, the most accomplished grappler in UFC history, to come out and really showcase one hell of a striking repertoire with the punch. Those punches were so quick, the kicks, everything was just landing on point. But those punches were lightning fast, and they had intent, and they were right on the jaw. They were right on the money every time. He almost gets the knockout, which I thought they were going to give him the knockout, and here he goes, and a Anaconda choke again, cementing him as having the most submission wins in the UFC. And that just with another crazy stat, you know, I mean, the guy had no choice. Huge fight, goes up the ranks. Where's Charles Oliveira sit at 155 now? Got to be getting close to getting a title belt. And good for him. Tough dude. Another great Brazilian on this card, too. Speaking of submission guys, Damian Maia takes on a very game dude in Lyman Good. Coming off, you know, Lyman Good had a huge really, really bad injury, but to come back, just a total specimen of a fighter in Lyman Good. But Damian Maia, just too much for him in the grappling department. Another dude, I think Damian Maia has now 12 submission wins in the UFC too, so the repertoire and the dudes he's choked out is just endless. Let's break it down. Damian Maia, we don't talk positive about the dude recently. He's up there, 41 years old, breaking a 3-fight losing streak, coming through here with a huge, basically a must-win over Lyman Good. All of his losses are decision, and he just fought the top 3 guys at 170. Which, you lost to him all by decision. That's not terrible. Tip my hat still to him, even though he lost handily in all those fights. But all 3 dudes, all American wrestlers, all 3 of them. It kind of tells you what works good against jiu-jitsu. It's just being strong as hell, an American college freestyle wrestler. All by decision, like I said, they did nothing fancy. He beat Jorge Masvidal all by split decision. Good fight. Chokes out Carlos Condit, chokes out Matt Brown, beats Gunnar Nelson, who's another jiu-jitsu ace. Choked out Neil Magny, that was a big one. Beat Ryan LaFleur. I remember watching that one. That was probably that was a really bad fight that he probably shouldn't have won, actually. Still, it was a tough call on that one. Kind of fights kind of a nobody in Alexander Yakovlev. Loses to Rory McDonald. Loses a split decision to Jake Shields. Man, the guy's career just is absolutely endless here. And, it's 13 submissions. That's crazy. 13 UFC submissions. That's nuts.
My favorite Damian Maia fight?
Don't even.
Was the one against Nate Marquardt.
I know you're going there.
Mine was Kobe Cunningham.
10-second knockout.
No, you love it because we were at a party, and I get up, go to the bathroom, come back out, and the guy I bet on, Damian Maia, to beat Nate Marquardt is on the ground counting stars. I was like,
great moments in MMA.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't funny. It was one of those. It was like kind of like before the PVR era too. I think. When was that fight? I went out of it.
Yeah, I don't think I had a PVR at that time.
No.
We were watching it here, I remember.
Yeah, quite some time ago. Good finish though for Damian Maia. Must-win fight. That brings us to the co-main event of the evening. Jose Aldo versus Renato Moicano. Really good fight. It was a really, really good fight. You caught that one, Kelly?
Which one, sorry?
The second one, the Aldo fight?
Yeah, I saw that one. Sorry, I just kind of zoned out.
No, it's all good.
That one was awesome.
That one was really good. They had that first feeling out process, and then the second round. And I really noticed was the size difference between those guys. That's what we're seeing, these new 145s. You remember when Jose Aldo was just destroying anybody that would come near him? But the dudes we're seeing at 145 with the Yair Rodriguez's, Max Holloway, and even this dude, man, this guy was a real big 145. I think maybe he was a bit starstruck, but it was enough for Aldo. Aldo caught him in the second and just really swarmed him after that. What I thought was the punches that Aldo was throwing. He was really, normally he mixes in a lot of kicks. He was just going super punch heavy in this fight, and it shows it worked. Maybe that extra little ebb in his game kind of threw him off for the tape he had the library of tape to watch on Jose Aldo. Maybe he threw a little bit something different at him and he wasn't prepared for it. Good win for Aldo. Still kicking and still got a few fights left in him. He says he wants to fight in May again, so that should be interesting. That brings us to the main event of the evening. Marlon Moraes versus Rafael Assunção. Really good fight. And once again, man, what a card we had last night. How Moraes has found fucking dynamite in his hands. Fucking lands 2 huge overhand rights and just knocks him. No one else has taken one of these punches, and somehow Assunção takes these punches and wasn't totally out of it. But still, for a dude like that, such an accomplished black belt, to be choked out like that by Moraes, what a fight. And it's a no-brainer. Dude has to be fighting for the title next against Dillashaw. There's no one else at the 135-pound division that even stands a chance in Moraes, and a dude who's knocked out 3 people in a row now. And these are all really, really tough dudes. Let's break it down here. 6 degrees of separation. Marlon Moraes. Magic Moraes. Not a bad nickname. 4 wins in a row. He beat Dodson by split decision. He lost his Sun Sao in his first UFC fight. But that's you get those jitters. You know what I mean? First UFC fight's hard for anybody. Yeah, split exactly.
We were talking about it before the fight on the broadcast, saying that it was super close.
Yeah.
That some people thought he should have won it. Actually,
they really traded in that fight, and it was actually a really good fight. Just kind of was really tearing up in the WSOF before it kind of went under and turned into the PFL. But just beating everybody up in that, shouldn't be totally surprised. A little bit of Shudo there, but really tough dude. Marlon Moraes getting the job done. But does Dillashaw? I gotta ask you guys: did Dillashaw fight Cejudo first, or does he fight Marlon Moraes? Kelly, who do you think he fights?
I think he should fight Cejudo first. Keep the 125-pound division relevant just for a little bit longer. And then, let the other guys fight it out for a while.
Not bad. Who do you think he fights, Morgan?
I think he should fight Cejudo at 135. Mm-hmm. That's what Cejudo wants. Cejudo just beat him. Why not?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I think it's more marketable, too. Moraes is a good fighter, and hey, man, he might be able to beat Cejudo and Dillashaw. But I think right now you got to go with that fight first. Moraes will have his time.
No, I totally agree. And I think you guys make the best point that it's best for business right now, especially for the 125 division, keeping it even somewhat relative. And I think a lot of people were obviously excited by the first fight. It made a little bit of a shockwave through the world for people to want to watch it. Super Bowl going down. We were just regaled by Maroon 5's amazing halftime show. I know Kelly is more excited than someone using the Bowflex for 14 minutes a day and getting amazing results about the Super Bowl. Kelly loving football and the Super Bowl especially. But what I loved about it was Steve Harvey in the awards show last night. His opening monologue you sent to me, man, that was fucking hilarious. Steve Harvey killing it. Dropping in a strip club joke with football players. Gold. That is gold.
I like the joke where he jokes about he didn't know what's his name, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
He didn't know Pat Mahomes was black until he took his helmet off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. How he touched base on black quarterbacks and how many black quarterbacks there are this year, and I thought that's a nice touch. Shitty other people had to go through that. Like he made up the point about that guy. He had, he won the Heisman Trophy, but he couldn't get signed by an NFL team, so he had to go play for the Knicks. You know what I mean? That's just kind of crazy that they would have shunned people like that back then.
That is a fucked up story.
But yeah, really, really funny show. But to say the stripper joke, and then even to make a comment later on about they're like, oh, you can't laugh about that depending on who you brought to with your wife. You know what I mean? Oh, I thought that was pretty funny. Good move, Steve Harvey. Just fucking slayed it with the show last night. Time we got here. Yeah, I think we got a good time to take a break here. Good time to take a break. Get into everything else. All that's happening. Talk some wrestling. Still got the Royal Rumble to talk about and what's going to happen next week. We will be right back after these brief messages. Water. It's in Slurpees. All flavors. Delicious Slurpees in water.
No way. For real.
Ice mixed with pop. Delicious. And make sure you feed your pets cool, clear water. From a hose or a tap, dogs will drink that shit down. Next time you go to the club, get ice with your cocktail. Try it today. Water that is frozen. When watching football, make sure to mix in a water with all them beers.
You want another waters?
I'll take one more water, please.
There you go.
When you're having your Bud Light, Coors Light. Just good old Coors. Or my personal favorite, Rolling Rock. Mix in a water every once in a while. Results may vary. Results may cause you to piss a whole ton. Excessive pissing.
Too many waters can cause a good time.
Nuts too salty? Try water. Helping with salty nuts since 1913. And welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed those messages. And go get yourself a tall, cool glass of water on the house. Before we get into the wrestling this week, I want to get into my take. I just always like to bring up something silly to talk about with my take, whether it be serious or whatever. Always cranking out the bullshit. This week, with the new Titan games. Have you guys check this out? Titan games? Rock is the host of it. Morgan, have you watched it?
I've seen commercials, but I haven't actually seen it.
It's on Thursday. I watched it. It's okay. But with that and like the night fighting show, what we need to see here is to combine two of my favorite things of all time. Number one, obviously, and well documented on the show, MMA, and number two, game shows. MMA game shows. I don't know how this idea came to me this week, but you can go two different avenues with that. Okay, two different avenues you can take. First avenue, obviously, would be to have MMA fighters, right? You know what I mean? MMA fighters in like a challenge game show, like American Ninja Warrior or like the Titan game show where they got to compete obstacles, but at the end, the two winners have to fight each other. Huh? What do you guys think? Good idea?
Excellent.
I'm taking this to Hollywood. I'm taking this to Hollywood.
It would be a cool show.
Yeah.
But I don't know the legalities behind it. Like what kind of insurance you would have to get and how expensive that would be.
I'm sure it would be no more than what they have to do now. You just have to have you'd have to do it in sanctioned states, obviously.
You would have to definitely get them to sign a waiver form. Mm-hmm. I think it could work maybe like on Netflix or something. Maybe not on a network TV, right?
Live TV. I'm going live with this, baby. Live? Yeah, I'm going live with this.
Get it on DAZN, man.
Exactly.
UFC Fight Pass.
But I think what they could do is do like the background bullshit. You know what I mean? Tell the story of the fighters. I think that's what people want to see. That's what I want to see. Is the fighters their stories? You know what I'm saying? What kind of stories they have? They're a dad, or they had a tragedy when they were young, or some bullshit like that, or they were bullied. You know what I mean? Crap like that. That's what I want to see, and I think that's how you can do that with this show, is by showcasing these guys' real lives, or real people who just they had a love for something. And decided to do it. The guy could be some bad gangbang criminal, you know what I mean, on the show. It could be that for all we know, you know what I mean? That's his whole background. He was in prison for a long time, and here now he's on a game show fighting and doing obstacles.
Who would host it?
Yeah, good question, man. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to go Randy Couture.
He's a little bit too boring for me. I think I would go Bas Rutten.
Bas Rutten. I don't know why Bas Rutten isn't more popular in American media. Do people find him hard to understand? You know what I mean? Hit us up on Twitter if you're from America. Do you find his accent hard to understand? Because that's what I've heard from other people, is they can't understand what he's saying. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Easy to understand.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just weird. Bas Rutten would be good. Bas Rutten's a good choice for anything. Who do you think, Kelly? You got anyone on the top of your head who could be the host of the MMA American Ninja American Mixed Martial Artist Warrior? Come up with a better idea. Gina Carano. Wow. That'd be a great choice, man.
I think it would be kind of cool if Bas and Gina co-hosted like Pat Sajak and Vanna White.
Yeah,
we're making up some good ideas on the show. We got the shit copyrighted, people. Exactly. Oh, shit. But I think that'd be cool. Like, just different things. The Titan Games is kind of cool. I thought it was going to be a bit more like... American Gladiator. But it's more like super strong guy versus strong guy. And they aren't even really that tough. That's what I thought when I was watching the show, the Titan Games. I thought, I could do this. You know what I mean? American Ninja Warrior? No way in hell. That's way too good. I can't do American Ninja Warrior. That shit's... If I worked out, maybe I could do some of the American Ninja Warrior stuff, but... that's a lot of upper body. I'm not that...
I think that might have an appeal to it to a lot of people, though.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Something that's a regular person can do. It doesn't have to be like a freak athlete.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why when I was watching the show, I felt like I could do most of the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that brings it to the other side of the coin of my take of having amateur people join a game show where they have to fight MMA. You know what I mean? Amateur people just come into a show where they could have a fighting. That's the thing. That was kind of what the problem I had was I was flip-flopping with it throughout the week. Can people be on the show with any MMA background or any combat sports background? Or am I going to allow a combat sport background, but that's it, like kung fu or karate or anything like that? You know what I mean? But I think it would be tough to do a show with someone with no combat sports in their background to even make the show worthwhile. Would just be people just punching and flailing at each other. You know what I'm saying?
I think it would be better if it was that. Because if you want to watch a professional fight, wouldn't you rather just watch an actual professional fight? Whereas, like, if you just have regular people out there flailing at each other, they have a comedic value. It'd be interesting just because these are regular people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? You blew my mind with that. Exactly. That's kind of why I was flip-flopping with this, how I would have it. And I think that does, because you can't have people with any kind of, because it wouldn't make for good if you have people that are somewhat good. You're just going to get you get like just a boxer versus kickboxer. It's not going to be that great, too. Especially if they're both at an amateur level. So it's exactly that. You're going to get such an amateur level, you can see the true toughest dude, you know what I mean, out of that. Or even you're going to have women in it too, the true toughest woman out of that as well. So it's a kind of a double-sided coin with that. And there's that kind of this funny take I had through the week, but with having just like the average Joes in it, I don't know if I would do so much, you know what I mean, as like an Ultimate Fighter TV show, or to go with it as just like the game show where few people show up, you have to fight, everyone has to fight like to a tournament style, and the winner takes all. Average Joe fighting. Be weird. I don't know. Hit me up, Hollywood.
Do you remember the bully beatdown?
Yeah. Kelly, Kelly and I talked about that a long time ago. Yeah, good show.
That show was hilarious.
Good show, yeah.
Those were like guys that didn't have any training and they'd go against an actual MMA
That's
player.
true. Yeah, that's true.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was a good show. Awesome show. The episode always comes to mind is the Arlovsky episode. You know what I mean? Because I was like, wow, they got Andrei Arlovsky on this fucking show to beat the crap out of this dude.
Imagine you're the bully, you're like, yeah, I'll fight some trained MMA guy. And then all of a sudden you see Andrei Arlovsky across the ring.
The dude the bully was actually a huge dude. So I think that's why they had no choice but to give him somebody that was tough. But Arlovsky beat the fuck out of him. Oh man, good show. Let's talk some wrestling. They touched base on how excited I was last show for the Royal Rumble. We watched the Royal Rumble afterwards, and boy, oh boy, did it not disappoint. Quickly, though, massive arena. Like, what an arena was it. So cool to be in Chase Stadium there. 48,000 people in attendance, Kelly, to watch Royal Rumble. It was so popular, Kelly watched it. Yeah, exactly. He watched every minute of it. Because it's long event. I think it's you know what I mean. I think all in all, I think it's like 5 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, with the pre-show and then the actual show. It's a long show.
Yeah, it was getting long for me, man.
Yeah, big time. But it was a long ass show. But what I love was the kind of how they had that cool jumbotron, because there was kind of like they were coming out like of the bullpen kind of, or like, you know, the wherever the hell they call it for the baseball players to come out of the dugout. And then they kind of had that low jumbotron. I thought that was a really nice touch, really, really cool, just so you could get the optimum viewing for the fans. I thought that was a really cool touch and optimum attendance for such a big building like that. Great move. I thought it was cool to put on a show, and man, it did not disappoint. Huge win for Asuka that night. Great match. She had that cool submission where it was kind of like that back bridge submission into the choke, and the man goes walking. But as we find out later on in the show, that was not entirely the case. Cesaro and Sheamus with classic heel tag teams, man. They were so good, but obviously we saw The Miz. It was going to be an easy win for The Miz and Shane to win the titles. The best friends in the world, Morgan, as I called it. You heard it here first, folks. They easily win the titles, obviously, but Cesaro and Sheamus, they had that good little back and forth in the beginning of the match where they were just cheaping the shit out of Shane McMahon. It was a really, really cool match for that. I thought the Sasha Banks and Ronda Rousey match started off a little bit sloppy. I think it was a little bit of feeling up with those women before that match. And I think we're seeing a huge rivalry here with obviously Sasha Banks coming back and doing the 4 horsewomen salute. Obviously, we're finally going to see this here, and maybe we'll see it at WrestleMania. I think that's maybe a bit too soon, but we'll see what happens, how they roll with that move. Awesome to see the Women's Royal Rumble starting off with Lacey Evans and Natty. I thought it was a great mix-up. Good showing for Lacey Evans. That cool move for Natty was that double sharpshooter. I thought that was really cool, something I hadn't seen before. It was really, really neat to see that, especially bring a variation for her. Good move. Huge move for Naomi. She had like the Kofi Kingston move to jump over. That was a far jump too, man. Did you see that jump from the railing? That was fucking super far.
That was cool.
Yeah, I was surprised by that one, man.
I like the move by Casey Catanzaro better though.
Yeah, that was a good move too. Yeah, that
where she
did
like
that.
Hand walked
Yeah,
and then like put her legs around the ring post and pulled herself up.
Yeah,
again.
that was crazy. Yeah, that was pure strength. Did you see that part, Kelly? It was crazy.
Yeah, man, I saw that.
Pure strength. Oh man, that was a good move, Morgan. Good call. Rough bump for Kairi Sane. I remember when she fell off. She hit hard. Huge pop for Alexa. I thought she was gonna win it, but no, that was not the case. Lana milking the entrance was actually pretty funny, and then boom, Morgan calls it. Becky Lynch, the man, comes to the Royal Rumble. I kind of like it in a way. You know what I mean? How we're seeing this. They're not making it entirely illegal for someone to come out and jump somebody, and then they're in the Royal Rumble somehow. You know what I mean? They never. What other event can you just do that? Their entrance is coming down, and you just come in behind them and just beat the shit out of them, and then you just go in for them. I'm not totally opposed to it, but I don't want to get this thing out of hand.
Man.
Exactly. I don't want to get out of hand like where everyone's getting attacked every goddamn time.
Hey, did you notice that the last 4 girls in the ring were all my picks?
Yes, I did notice that.
Oh, shit.
Morgan taking the Women's Royal Rumble with Becky Lynch. Huge win for Becky.
Finally, somebody who knows about wrestling on the podcast.
I know, finally. Wow, Kelly coming up with some heat. Wow, well played, Kelly. No, well played. That was a good move, buddy. Good move. Good Women's Royal Rumble, and Morgan wins the 6-pack. We'll still buy each other 1 6-pack. I'll buy you one, you buy me one, okay? Yeah. What do you want? What kind of plug do you want to put on the show, buddy? All our listeners.
Clear.
Oh, you got it.
It's good for your blood sugar.
2.0 carbs of goodness.
It's not the best thing on earth, but it's the best thing that's low carb.
Nah, that's delicious, man. Delicious. In the heavyweight, the SmackDown Universal title, we see, and to no surprise, Daniel Bryan winning, but with the help of Eric Rowan coming down to the ring and helping him out. As his recycling, Rowan comes and saves the day, but I did not see that move coming. I wonder what's going to happen with the Bludgeon Brothers. You know what I'm saying? The Bludgeon Brothers are gone, or maybe we'll see both Harper and Rowan be the Earth Fighters for Daniel Bryan and be his muscle. I think it actually could be a good move. Anticlimactic ending for Lesnar to retain, obviously, but it was actually still a good match for Finn to put on. He actually did look pretty good against Brock, and Brock sold pretty darn good. Everyone always hates on Brock for refusing not to win, but he sells like a motherfucker, and he just knows how to run the business. Double J, I thought, was the weird one, was the men's legend. I don't think they didn't really have a legend for the women's match. Yeah, Double J is kind of like the legend to be in that match. I thought it was terrible, especially coming down to the second entrance. I'm so glad he got hit with the guitar, but boo to Johnny Gargano. Why the hell are they wasting a perfectly good spot with that bum? Jeez Louise. Johnny Gargano stinks the place up.
Isn't he like a champ in NXT though?
Yeah, he's the North American champ. Whoop-de-doo. He'll never be anything other than an NXT champ. Just keep him in NXT and don't let him come up to the big leagues. 205
come up and form a stable with the Revival.
Don't you dare.
Oh, yeah.
They should like take over Raw and SmackDown.
They could go back to NXT and they can go up against undisputed.
NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, and NXT UK.
They can
That's what I'm talking about.
They could just stay in NXT and go against the Undisputed Era. There you go. You got a rivalry for the ages. They can battle each other in NXT where they belong. They make a good rival because I could never see the guys from Undisputed Era making it up to the show as well. Adam Cole, even, he's quite small.
He's popular though.
I know, but he is quite small. I don't see him being at the level of like the other small dudes in the division to have come up.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan's the best little guy.
I think Daniel Bryan's bigger than him. I think that's the thing.
He's pretty little too, but Daniel Bryan's awesome.
Yeah, he's not bad. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I really like what he's done. I really thought that this angle was going to be a death sentence for him, and he's actually turned it out. I'm actually quite enjoying it, actually, to tell you the truth.
I actually prefer it to the Yes Movement.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm coming to the agreement as well that I'm actually liking it more than the Yes Movement, because I really didn't like the Yes Movement. So you can really you can't go any farther down. Surprised the New Day was eliminated so quickly. It seemed like all of them had just kind of. Kofi Kingston had his moment, but Xavier Woods was almost eliminated instantly, and even Big E was eliminated quite quickly as well. So I thought that was a weird move. Aleister Black was unexpected. Was an unexpected entrance to come into, and he actually had some good moves. Good to see. I can see Aleister Black in the main roster, and maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to see the crowd reaction when a dude does come up, and then they'll obviously think about it if it would be more advantageous for the show or not. I'm not sure if Bobby Lashley was supposed to fall off the way he did. He kind of caught the ropes, and the momentum kind of knocked him out. That was kind of crazy. And Dolph Ziggler had to go and eliminate Drew McIntyre. They're still hanging on to that one a little bit. But Nia Jax attacking R-Truth. Did not see that coming. And apparently, R-Truth is actually mad at her in real life about the move. I don't think he entirely knew about it. About the move was going to happen, especially to lose that way. You're the 30th entrance, you know what I mean? And here Nia Jax takes your spot. Really weird move. And apparently he's made some real actual heat, stealing his move. But of course, my man, Seth Rollins burnt it down. And burnt down those hands. It was kind of cool. It was my guy versus your guy at the end. And especially the two main guys in the WWE Raw right now, in Rollins and Braun Strowman, battling it out. And to my glee, Seth Rollins wins it and wins me that 6-pack. I will take... Tough call. Because Rolling Rock only comes in 8 packs. I will...
Well, let's up it to 8 packs, because this shit comes in 8 packs.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Deal. A Rolling Rock 8-pack. Let's talk some Raw. That's why I always like the rub with the Raw after the Royal Rumble. Obviously, the Raw after WrestleMania is really good, but the Raw after Royal Rumble is always good too, because it's kind of, we've seen a little bit of commingling of the storylines, and then that's what we could see here as well. Opening up the show with Seth freaking Rollins, but by that time, we could have something new. And they give us, this is a time when they can give us something new, and they give us Ambrose coming down and fighting Seth Rollins. It's the new show should be something a little bit fresh. Throw anyone in there, and they give him Dean Ambrose. But it was a weird move afterwards with Ambrose losing, and we found out later on in the week. Obviously, the biggest news coming out in wrestling is that actually Dean Ambrose will not re-sign with the WWE after WrestleMania. He's upset with his character, and once again, we see somebody come out in Nia Jax and interrupt him, which I thought was a really weird move. I thought it was a weird move to do to Dean Ambrose, to do him that way for not wanting to resign. I have no clue what's up with Dean Ambrose right now, and nobody does. It's kind of weird. And what my wife had actually made a great point, what a weird position it puts his wife in Renee Young, you know what I mean, with being with the show. He does, you know what I mean, does she find her way out now too, or she'd be smart to stay obviously with the WWE?
I like her as a color commentary.
She's growing on me. I'm not the biggest fan of it. She's growing on me. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of it. not because she's a woman, just because of her ability.
I think she's more able than a lot of the people they've had lately. Maybe not as good as the previous people like Jerry the King Lawler, but some of the guys they've had recently were not very good, like Byron Saxton.
Yeah, I'll take her. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'll take her any day over Byron Saxton. I like Booker T, though. You know what I mean? I like Booker T. I'm not the biggest fan of JBL on the commentary table.
I did like JBL.
I'd take her over JBL. You know who I really liked was Taz. Taz was one of my favorites. He was great.
Taz was pretty good.
Yeah, he was really great. But what all these people say is how you have Vince McMahon yelling in your ear what to say all the time. And some dudes can handle it and some dudes can't. And I think that's why Taz was let go, is because he didn't say what Vince was telling him to say. But he would always talk about how he would pretend he couldn't hear him in his microphone. Like, I can't hear you. I didn't hear what you said. You know, so that's why I didn't say it. So that's what he'd always say. He had that game where he wouldn't.
It'd be pretty cool if Vince went back on the mic. He was awesome.
Yeah, I really like Vince on the mic. Me too. I totally agree. I felt sorry for Alexa and Mickey James as soon as I found out that their tag team opponents were going to be Tamina and Nia Jax coming up for. Now they're doing the whole thing for the Survivor Series. Of the winner of that will get the women's tag belts. I like it. There's only one set of tag belts. I do like that. It makes it more exclusive, and then you can have the two brands fighting over it. Especially, and they're doing it in this case here with them battling for the belt at the Elimination Chamber. The winner gets all, and I think that's a great move.
Yeah, I think Nia and Tamina got to be a favorite in that tournament, eh?
Big time. I'd have to think so too. Exactly. Finally, we have witnessed the rock bottom of the Revival, with them going up against Ryder and Hawkins. Finally, we've seen it here. They are officially having a feud with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Like, how bad is that?
Waste of talent.
The crowd responded. They're like a poor man's Dolph Ziggler. That's even worse.
Where the hell did you come to that comparison?
Because the crowd hates them. The crowd will never like them, man. The crowd will never like them. NXT at best.
Crowd loved them in NXT.
They had no other choice. It's all they're just getting that and like that terrible tag teams crammed down their throat.
Done wrong, man. They just make them lose to everybody and fight all these like chump teams.
Still,
that's what they got for saying they're pro wrestlers and not sports entertainers.
What were they thinking? Elias finally being bad again. I'm really glad somebody had said, I hope it was Vince McMahon, to say, make Elias bad again. Because this is the best he's at. He finally made fun of the crowd again. Loved it. And then the crowd erupted even louder. That's what it's always about, is the crowd reaction. That's what you want. You want all those boos. Good move. But to have Double J and then the Road Dogg come down singing their terrible song, that was a Be With My Baby Tonight. I think that's what
that was awesome. That was the best part of Raw.
I know, but I'm glad they both got.
It was nostalgic.
I'm glad they both got hit with the guitars.
You knew they were gonna.
Yeah, good move, and Elias.
I gotta say though, Double J looks like he's in pretty good shape. He threw the best punches of anybody on Raw, man.
He's okay.
Like, his punches look good though, right?
Yeah, they look okay.
Like, they're on. He always did that. Like, they look like legit punches. Where a lot of times in pro wrestling, the punches look pretty stupid.
That's true, because you want to punch the guy without punching him. No one did that better than Double J. J-E double F. J-A double R.
A double T.
Oh, shit. Shitty that Ember Moon is injured. You know, I mean, we would have loved to have seen her get the tag team belt, but that's really shitty news that she is injured.
Well, I don't think she's really in an established tag team, so I don't think she would really
That's true.
In a position where she should win it.
Still, it wouldn't be.
I like her as a wrestler though, so I don't want her to be injured. I think she should have a title run. I really think that they should throw in like maybe a U.S. title or an Intercontinental title for women, because the women division's more stacked right now than the men's.
Great point. Yeah, great call, man. Absolutely. Yeah. What would we call, like, what, a European title? Is that what you could use? The European title, or what would you call it then?
Women's Intercontinental.
Oh, okay. Women's Intercontinental. There you go. Easy enough. Yeah. Easy enough. There you go. Huh? Yeah. Good move, actually. You heard it here first. Hit us up, Vince. A women's Intercontinental title.
He probably wouldn't call it Intercontinental, though. He would find some weird name for it.
The intergender title.
It would be like the Western Hemispheric title.
Oh, shit.
Lilith champ.
Lilith champ. I don't know about that
where
one.
I was going with that.
Don't know where that one. There was a weird vignette by Mojo Rawley. Do you remember that one in the mirror? Mojo talking in the mirror. I thought it worked. I thought it worked. I thought it worked for him. We're seeing a little bit different now. We got to see, but we got to see how Mojo uses this. Hopefully, he doesn't get buried.
With a lot of potential. He's got good charisma. He's a big dude. He's fast. He does crazy power moves.
I disagree with
he
charisma.
He doesn't have a huge set of moves, but he's got the moves he has look pretty good because he smashes people basically.
That is true, but I don't think he's got the charisma. I think that's what he's got to work on. I don't think he does.
I don't think he's as bad as you say.
Hype Bros is rough. Hype Bros is rough. I think that WWE sees something in him, and that's all that matters. I know. I'm not hyped. Oh, shit. But I guess, to survive being a tag team with Zack Ryder, that's going to be tough. So he must still have it in him. The Becky chants, though, during Ronda's speech was deafening. Like this is the first time, Kelly, this was the nuts. I always talk about the crowd feel, and that's what always makes WWE huge for me, is how crazy the crowd was. Ronda Rousey, she's been beloved by every city she goes. She's beloved. And people chant for her, wherever she goes. She's trying to talk, and people are chanting Becky so loud she can't even talk. Nice. It's like the crowd, it was just she kind of got a little flustered. She, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she stuttered from it, and then she acknowledged it too.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
Like, oh, you guys made me do it.
Yeah, that's how loud it was, man. Just to feel that on you. And I think we see some actual real heat between her and Becky. Those two girls cut one of the fucking fiercest fucking showdowns we've seen in the ring in a long time. And give my props to Ronda, because this is Becky's world. Becky handled it very well, but even you could tell that she was a little bit intimidated by Ronda really going thug and getting in her face and really cutting a very emotional take. I thought that was she was mad.
Ronda, as much as she looked shook at the beginning when the crowd started chanting Becky at her, that second rant she had was awesome.
It totally was.
Where she's like, I own the ground that I stand on, and
yeah.
I'm going to own you.
Yeah, that's pretty...
and she had so much passion behind it.
If someone wrote that line for her, or if she came up with that line herself, bravo to either or. Bravo more to herself. If she can, that's a pretty solid line to come up with. To say that to anybody. Whew. Hot tamales. But I think what she did best was you could even tell in the beginning when she was starting to yell, when she got into Becky's face and started to yell, she got a little bit quivery as well at that point. And I think that's what she used. She used a little bit of her fear to help her out in that situation, and it worked out amazingly. Hats off to that segment. It was one of the craziest segments we've seen in a long time, especially when it comes to women's wrestling. Amazing moment. It's real hate. Real hate. That's all I got to say.
The women keep up in their game.
Yeah. It's just Becky. Becky is really the Conor McGregor of WWE, where everything she touches is gold.
Well, I think it's more than just Becky. I think Ronda does well.
Yeah.
And she did well that night. Sasha. Bayley had a good match, too.
Yep. Well, I don't know about evil Bayley, though. That's the thing. I don't like this whole not nice Bayley. It just doesn't work. She's always got to be the hugger. Tough for her. That's a tough heel change, man. Especially for between her and Sasha.
I don't think she's a straight up heel, though. I think she's kind of a tweener.
I know, but that's even worse, though. You know what I mean? How she comes out of that's gonna be a tough move, man.
I don't know. I think she needed a change, and that's the only change.
Yeah, I agree with that, though.
She's
yeah,
gonna do this for a bit, and then she'll bring back the hugger, and it'll be bigger than ever.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly it. Because right now, her whole gimmick isn't going. She's getting lost in the crowd right now. Really, that's really what's happening, and it's a shame because she is such a great in-ring performer. She's huge with the crowd, but for some reason she just can't get that traction. It's just really weird. Can't get that traction. She's not great on the mic. She's not terrible. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of weird. Yeah, she's decent.
She's probably one of the best actual wrestlers of the women.
For sure. I can agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. She's got a great repertoire of moves. Corbin versus McIntyre. Great duo with those guys. If they team those guys up, those guys are huge. Massive, massive dudes. Yeah, it could be a really good tag team. And throw Bobby Lashley. I've talked about that weeks and weeks and weeks. Throw Bobby Lashley in that mix. That's a good fucking power team. And the conclusion of Raw was Rollins, you know what I mean, getting beat up there. It was good finish. Good show. Good show. Let's talk some SmackDown Live. Great way to start the show with the back and forth between Becky and Charlotte. I thought that was really, they were really digging on each other, really good there. Just Charlotte just saying, you know what I mean, you wouldn't be anything without me, you know what I mean. Dastardly shit. I love that shit. R-Truth, man, felt so sorry for the dude, man. It comes out with the best line ever. 1 minute I was rapping, the next I was napping. I just love that.
That was great.
Coming in regards to Nia Jax attacking him. But I like that, and then all of a sudden Nakamura he gets to challenge Nakamura, and I thought that was really cool. But was that finish supposed to happen? And it's almost like that was a quick count by the ref, and Nakamura had kicked out. Was that supposed to be in the play? Like it was supposed to be like he really did kick out and the ref didn't see it, like on purpose, or did he actually not see it and go off script or something here? What
are you insinuating? A Montreal Screwjob-esque type situation?
No, but
this is the scenario you're playing out in your head.
But what I was exactly but I think it's like a real one though. Like,
is R-Truth gonna start getting you screwed Nakamura chants every time he goes to Tokyo?
I could believe it. If I was a Japanese fan and a huge fan of Nakamura, I would be doing it 100%.
I don't think R-Truth deserves any hate. Most likable guy in the whole
big time
industry, basically.
Big time. No, but I don't know if I think he was obviously supposed to win the match, but I don't think it was supposed to happen at that given time. I think it was all botch. I think the ref botched the play. That's what it looked like to me.
Do you think they called an audible and then made another match?
I think that's why they did, exactly.
And then they were like, let him keep it.
And then I think they called the audible with throwing in Rusev. Let's throw Rusev in there to go in the mix, see what we can do out of that, and then beating Rusev too, which was kind of a cool double move. I just wasn't sure if it was supposed to happen. But he beat Rusev clean. Yeah, I liked it too. It brought a little bit of something to talk about. He beats Rusev clean.
I've thought that R-Truth has been one of the best parts of SmackDown for weeks now, months maybe even, and like SmackDown's been the better show lately.
I think that's what the fans are saying too. Obviously, with all the R-Truth being brought in, obviously it helped with his 7-second dance-offs with Carmella, which I think their teaming up is amazing as well. Super good move for both their careers. I really liked it even for Carmella's career. I've been saying the same thing.
Plus, they've been bringing R-Truth in for a lot of good matches against good guys lately.
He's still got it. He's still got the really amazing in-ring ability. But out of this, if we see, rather than Nakamura and Rusev going against each other for the U.S. title, if we see them team up, I think that's a great matchup to make more Rusev the heel. I never liked Rusev as the face. It was never going to work for me. Rusev's got to be a bad guy, and if they want to make Nakamura a bad guy, teaming up together versus none other than the Good Brothers. Too sweet me on that, Good Brother. Yeah, I got too sweeted. Great matchup. I think it's a good, easy matchup for both those guys to get some in-ring work. Having the club up against Rusev and Nakamura, adding even more tag teams to the SmackDown division. Maybe we'll see the shuffle, and some people will end up going over to Raw just because of how much of that tag team division is on life support. I think the Usos could go over to Raw and do some good for a team that's kind of having a hard time fitting, or maybe the New Day, which is the big rumor coming out, is that the New Day will be being split up.
That would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the biggest thing that happened in wrestling in a long time.
Yeah, big time. They've been from all these teams getting split up so quickly. The New Day is that one team that's held it out this entire time.
And they've been huge. They've been one of the best things going in wrestling for since they came. I don't know how long that's been. At least 5 years, I would say.
Right around there, if not longer. That's for sure. Great, a team I doubted. I openly doubted. I thought this was a terrible gimmick, and they managed to make it work somehow. Coming from I didn't like the whole when there were those positive preachers. I thought that was terrible. And then when they turned them to heels, it kind of started working. And I think that's when they were bad guys and they were getting cheers. That's when I knew these guys are so fucking over. that it is just going to catch so much more fire from here. And they really ran with the ball and did amazingly with it, especially Xavier Woods. Best team in the world, though, it's already run its course with me. I'm already done with this stupid thing. I don't know what they keep doing. They keep having these stupid little in-ring things where they love each other. I'm kind of over it. What are you still watching that? You still buying that cereal, Morgan?
Best team in the world?
Yeah, Miz and Shane O'Mac.
I like it.
I think I'm over it already. I think they got to lose the belts already.
No, I think it's one of the best things going in tag team wrestling right now.
I don't know.
I also like that new team with Otis.
Heavy Machinery.
Yeah,
they're
That's
good.
a good new team too.
They're good. I think they're coming in at the right time.
Tag team wrestling was getting kind of stale, so at least they got something new going.
That's true, but still, I'm just not a fan of the Miz and Shane O'Mac. The hard part is I don't like Shane O'Mac.
I
so,
like both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't
both
mind the Miz.
entertaining. I think Miz is a bit better on the mic. Shano is good on the mic as well, but Shano is an awesome wrestler.
He was an awesome wrestler.
I think he still is.
No, I don't think he is. I think I'm almost saying he's got to hang him up.
Nah, man.
His matches have been very poor as of late. Just because you get your ass kicked and then you just jump off the turnbuckle onto the table outside. You know what I mean?
Striking's still awesome.
It's the worst. His striking is the
Good,
worst.
like,
No way.
transitions and jiu-jitsu moves and stuff,
Sloppy. They're always super sloppy.
I think he's good.
His coast to coast has got to go number one.
Coast to coast is awesome.
It's coming too short. He's like coming from like LA to Columbus. He's not making it there yet.
He's making it.
It's like
he's to Haiti once did.
He's
but
coming
he still gets
from
to the other side.
He's coming from Vancouver to Quebec City. He's not there. Either way, I don't know. They got to lose the belts. I think Heavy Machinery would have been better on Raw, but now we see them on SmackDown in a really good match, a 4-way elimination tag match, and the Usos get to move on, which they will get to challenge the best team in the world for the tag team belts at Elimination Chamber. Should actually be a good match.
I think that'll be a really good match. Usos, pretty much every match they're in is a really good match.
Exactly. They're safe guys to go up against too, so I think it's just a good matchup all around. Daniel Bryan once again making a big wave here, introducing Recycling Rollins, and to throw the belt in the trash because Kelly has been documented. You know what I mean? I know you've been all over it.
All over that.
That how he's like the eco guy, he's the vegan guy, and he removes the belt because it's like it's leather and that type of thing, and it comes out with like this eco-friendly belt made out of hemp. The hot dog guy. And his new belt's made out of hemp now. You know what I mean? So he's got this new belt made out of hemp and like naturally fallen wood. So I thought it was actually a really good move. I thought the move really stole, as we've seen throughout the years, the people who've gotten their own customized, just made their own customized titles. Like Stone Cold, like John Cena. We see here Daniel Bryan bringing out his own belt, and I like it. I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good move. I really like Daniel Bryan's whole bad vegan guy shtick.
And I think because I always thought they can't have him the wussy. It doesn't work for him because he's always was like the Lionheart guy who'd always fight anybody. So they can't really make him all of a sudden turn him into a wussy now. That just doesn't work.
Plus,
his
moveset is very offensive.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Exactly, his moveset isn't the moveset of a wussy guy who's going to shy away from fighting.
And if you're the little guy taking on all the big guys, you can't have that wussy character.
Exactly,
it just doesn't make sense.
So the introduction of Rowan, I think, really answers all those questions. Like this is real, folks. You know what I mean? This is real. So we got to make it look real. But really good move. Samoa Joe, man, we don't talk about him enough, man. Such an underrated wrestler. Comes in there, everyone's talking about who deserves their chance, and Samoa Joe comes in and just destroys the whole field. The guy's ability on the mic is unwavering. He just crushes everyone. To constantly have to make fun of Jeff Hardy's addiction problems, that's got to be tough to do on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Especially if you're friends with the guy. But to not kind of stutter on those moments, wow. Samoa Joe just coming in and beating up the crowd. Good lead up to the Elimination Chamber with that. Triple H announces coming down. Huge announcement. Triple H announcing that it will be Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Mustafa Ali, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe all at Elimination Chamber for the championship. That really adds the intrigue. Having Daniel Bryan also in the match, he could lose his own belt at the match, which I always love. Adding the intrigue to the Elimination Chamber has been what has made this event. What great follow-up to do to Royal Rumble. It's so hard to follow up the Royal Rumble. Adding the Elimination Chamber right after it is perfect. I remember when Bray Wyatt won the heavyweight title. I think it was the Universal title at that time, or just the WWE Championship at Elimination Chamber, beating the field. I thought that was a great move. He did quickly lose the belt after that, but still, I thought that was a really good move for him to win the championship that way. And we will see it coming up here. As we talked about earlier in the wrestling breakdown, Dean Ambrose leaving, and it's not even 100% sure that he will be leaving to go to AEW. No one really knows what he is going to be doing come after his time with the WWE. I guess he's just upset. Maybe he just wants time off.
Maybe Bellator.
I don't know.
Is he a tough guy?
He's kind of tough. He is unhinged. He's
in real life?
No, Dean Ambrose is. I don't know.
He's a pretty big dude. He'd probably be like at least a 205 or maybe.
I don't know. No, man, I don't know. I think 185.
He's 6'5" or something.
Is he?
Yeah.
Huh.
And he's pretty built.
Maybe I think 205. I think would be a bit. We'll have to see how he sizes up to the likes of Bader. John Jones is obviously the taller, the bigger of the 205ers.
Well, I don't know that he's going to be taking on the champs and the
obviously,
champs.
Yeah, that's true. But still, how does he size up for like a Phil Davis? Even Rampage, I guess, would probably be his size.
Well, I wouldn't even want to see him fight Rampage.
No.
He'd probably get killed by a Rampage.
Still, Rampage at his age versus him right now. But who knows? Yeah, I don't know where Dean Ambrose goes from here.
If that fight happens, I'll bet you Rampage wins.
Wow.
6-pack.
Oh, wow. I'll do it right now. Absolutely. You heard it here first, folks.
The Dean of Mean.
You heard it here first, folks. You're taking Rampage, and I'll take Dean Ambrose. Wow.
Yeah, even when Rampage is 80 and Ambrose is like 60.
Nuh-uh. He's just going to go for a takedown. He's just going to come down.
Rampage is going to have a cane with an 8-ball at the top of it. He's going to crack him in the face with it.
Oh, shit. I don't know about MMA. I haven't heard any of that, but we'll find out. We'll find out. But speaking of AEW, two of the biggest signings, they have announced officially Pentagon Jr. and his brother Phoenix will be going to AEW. Makes total sense for those guys in their career right now, and I couldn't be happier. Pentagon Jr., one of my most favorite wrestlers on the independent circuit right now. Super excited to see him get paid. Just such an innovative dude, super different, and his in-ring ability is just bar none. Just lights out for a dude because he's not a little luchador guy. He's a little bit on the heavier side when it comes to luchadors, but he uses his skill set very wisely, and he still does a lot of high-flying shit. Can't say enough, but where obviously the Phoenix is the opposite. Phoenix does a tightrope walk and all his crazy moves. They got to have that feel, especially when it comes to the Southern wrestling, having those luchadors, and no two other dudes do it better than the brothers, the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr., and his brother Phoenix. Can't wait to see them and see what Double or Nothing brings. And at the very least, it gives these guys even more money if they do decide to come over to NXT in the future as well. Now, having AEW on your resume is really going to garner them more money wherever they go. I think they stay independent, though. I think they're having such a good time on the independent circuits, but I think they're working their schedule is pretty hefty from the shit that I see, all the different events they're promoting. Well, that brings all the wrestling stuff this week. We have an update on Ruckus Watch. Ruckus Watch, right around the corner. How far are we, Kelly?
Oh, man, they said it was like another 2 to 5 weeks.
Oof.
Yeah.
So close.
So close, but so far.
This is like that weed dealer that keeps telling you he's around the corner.
Yeah. Whole
I'm
shot
fine.
Honda.
I'm fine.
Almost there, bro.
5 minutes away.
Almost there, bro. You got full paper, right?
How do we get off Ruckuses?
My bad.
Zoom. That's not Ruckus, right? What is that?
I think that's Toyota or Mazda. No, it's Mazda.
Is it Mazda? Yeah, it's Mazda. Zoom.
It is Mazda.
I have a Mazda, and I get the Zoom.
You don't
Zoom
even know-
magazine every
You don't even know your own
quarter
slogan.
of a year.
Don't even know your own slogan. How dare you? You
I
got a
get-
nice ride though. You
I
got a nice
get
ride.
the Zoom magazine though.
That's hilarious.
That's funny. I've been getting it for a few years.
I saw got touch base on the Ruckus is that I saw dude. He was definitely enjoyed his hard drug variety. A guy doubling another guy on the sidewalk going to McDonald's. One guy had a helmet on, the other guy didn't have a helmet on. Going on the sidewalk, very busy sidewalk on the Ruckus. I had to chuckle when I saw. I'm like, that's a goddamn Ruckus. It's a nice ride. It was no, but these guys were comfortably on it. Honestly,
might be a stolen Ruckus.
it could very well be. Because I don't think it was running. I think they were like kind of just like coasting with it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it might be stolen.
Yeah, it could have been.
A lot of people like to steal those.
I bet. They were a very nice ride. Very nice ride.
Either that or it's got a broken payment arrangement.
I'm super tempted to get on. I got to get a new ride myself, though. Anything else you want to talk about, Morgan?
I think you would suit a VW bug.
Me?
Yeah.
Huh.
You look like a VW bug type
Wow.
of guy.
I'll take one. Das Auto. I'll take
one of
one.
the little mini buses.
You know, I had what was like one of my, I think it was my second car was a Volkswagen Safari. It was a 74 Volkswagen Safari. It was a camper one, so I had like the tall roof on it.
Nice.
And it was all plastic and stuff. It was a nice little cool little ride, but I ended up getting into an accident, and that was it for it. But even after the accident, I transported it or turned it into, because I was only like, I think it was like 18 or 19 when I got it, and I transported it into kind of like a cool little hangout spot outside of my house where we could all go in and hang out. And I remember we had 64, we had power running too, and I had a Nintendo 64 and a TV built in there, and playing Perfect Dark hours on end on 360 with 4 people, and because it was a good game where you could set up.
Yes, this is what
bots.
Millennials do in their hippie vans.
Tony.
Those old like hippie people from the generation of love.
That was like in the 90s. Late 90s.
There's lots of millennials around in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, technically it is what it is. Yeah, that is the age I am technically, but I am older, though. You know, you wouldn't think people throw that term around all the time, millennial. You know what I mean? But they think it was like more of someone who's 19, but it's actually someone who's like in their 30s.
You can practically be 40 and be a millennial now.
I think so. No, I don't think it's that close. I think
it's anybody born after 82.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. No, you still would be, because it's 82. You would only be like 37.
Yeah.
Well, it's 82 to something, like 82 to 96.
Yeah,
I think is what it is.
Yeah, so that'd be 37.
Yeah, 37. And the game is still going on. Patriots up 10-3. Tom Brady, does he get his 6th ring?
I don't like either of these teams.
Incomplete pass at the pylon here.
Only pulling for the Patriots because I picked them in that pool thing I did.
Super Bowl going down live here on the show and new podcast. OMG interception. 4 minutes left in the 4th. And it looks like the Rams are going home crying. Terrible lob throw. The guy didn't fight for it. Who was that?
Goff.
No, who was it? Was it Cooks or...
I'm not sure who this is.
Oh, man. Rough. Who takes the Super Bowl? It looks like Tom Brady's going to be winning his 6th ring, folks. What they had said was the
Still
fix...
5 minutes to go.
Well, they said what the fix was in because they had showed this...
if they were going to fix it, LA would win it because the NFL is already so successful in the New England area, and they just hit that LA area hard, and the crowds weren't up to their expectations. So I think they want LA to win it, if anything. if the league's trying to
true.
pull any strings, it would
Still.
probably be for LA.
No, but they're saying because they had aired a Patriots win commercial on the NFL channel today.
But I bet you they have both those commercials.
That's what they're saying, but they hadn't reported on anyone showing the other one as of yet.
Well, if someone fucked up, doesn't mean they have to fuck up twice.
No. They have obviously they have these commercials pre-done. That's pretty obvious.
Both are pre-done. The game hasn't even been played, so
obviously. Still, dun dun dun.
I think that's a little bit of that fake news shit.
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails are real.
They aren't real. There's reels of the Earth being flat. Come on, man.
It's a great Beck song.
It's a real good song. Football coming to a conclusion here. We can have our Sundays back, folks. We can have our Sundays back. Don't have to be glued to. We didn't do our football pool this year. Next year we'll do the new football pool. Fantasy football at its finest.
You're talking to a what? What are you, a 5-time loser?
Oh my god, you son of a bitch.
Finally, someone who knows about football on
Two-time champion.
Oh shit. We had a run in fantasy league for quite some time through the ups and downs, through the low turnout to the crazy turnout. Never won one myself. Had some bad luck. We had some good years though playing it. Next year we'll bring it on back.
Luck has nothing to do with it.
Definitely does.
It's all knowledge, skill, utilizing the resources that Mother Nature has given us.
As we obviously see here, Tom Brady just running it here, breaking it down. The interception before, Goff just threw it away. What a terrible lob. To the delight of Robert Kraft. High fives all around.
We love Kraft Dinner, so if Robert Kraft wants to sponsor the podcast, go right ahead.
You go right ahead. He can sponsor whatever the hell he wants. Running it right up. Oh, and they get the first down. Oh, and then some. Oh, man. Huge first down for the Patriots is basically over here. 3.5 minutes left. And Patriots cut a huge gash through the Rams' defensive line. Wow. Blocking up front. Coming through. It eventually gets chased down. Coming to the conclusion. I don't know what we should do here. The Super Bowl's almost over. I think we should keep rolling.
Jared Goff.
Yeah, let's keep. They're going to be running the clock. Let's keep rolling here. We just keep rolling.
There looking at the ground with his cap down.
He knows it's over.
Contact with the camera.
He cost them the game. Oh, what's the penalty for? False start. A flag on the field. Oh, hands to the face. Defense. Oh, man. They get it bad again. Wow. Another nail in the coffin. You don't want none.
Don't want none.
Don't want none. 2:47 left to go in the game.
Is Jared Goff going to get the reputation based on this game of being an interception thrower? A guy who falters when it's all on the line.
Picking up some yards, but still going down. Gets about 2 on that one. Second down. Chewing up the clock. Did the Rams call the timeout? It looks like they did.
One prediction I did do right on my prop sheet for that NFL pool was that the LA Rams running game would have a hard time in this game.
Good call. But I think the rest of it got blowed right the hell up.
Oh, I had it a much higher scoring game in every other category. But that's one thing I got right.
All right. With all these timeouts coming up, What do you think? You should end it, or do you want to keep rolling? What do you guys think?
It's up to you.
It's up to you, man.
All right. There's always timeouts that could add up.
That's true.
Yeah, the last 2 minutes of football is nowhere near 2 minutes.
Yeah, let's wrap her up here.
Leave him in suspense. Good choice.
Dun 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 dun. What happened in the conclusion of the Super Bowl?
On the next podcast.
On the next podcast, did Tom Brady win? Did Jared Goff win? Who takes it? Who takes the glory and goes to Disneyland?
Make sure you don't listen to radio, watch TV, or read any newspaper or internet site for the next week.
First down Patriots. It's all over, folks. First down Patriots.
It's pretty easy to avoid all that stuff, really.
Yeah.
Stay away
Patriots.
from Starbucks.
Patriots get it. 2.5 minutes left. It's basically game over. First down. Nothing they can do with one timeout left. I can almost guarantee it. Put your money on the Patriots, folks. There's actually, if I can end the show on one crazy thing, this guy named Better X has been betting. He's just made millions and millions off all these games. He actually bet on the Rams. He put $1 million on the Rams to win, and he's lost. He's made hundreds of millions in other bets, but crazy that he loses here. The guy, everyone was betting with this guy because of how crazy his bets were, and here he loses. Vegas has the final laugh. Ha 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 ha. Anyways, folks, show number 22 in the books here. For producer extraordinaire Kelly, for co-host Morgan, my name is Steven, and you've been listening to the New Podcast. Signing off.